Listen!
Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and this time we are talking about why a whole bunch of people are excited about potentially a Nintendo Switch 2 announcement happening really soon, this year. Do I believe it's happening this year? I am not sure, but there's a few different things that have popped up recently that I've seen today, some of which were yesterday, but that have been going on recently that's really stirring the pot here and leading to some thinking it's happening pretty soon, at least the announcement. Is it for sure? No, it's not for sure, but there's some news, there's some rumors, and that's what we're talking about today. But before we go further, let me point out that we are aiming to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. With your help, it just might be possible. So a bit of a disclaimer, this video is going to be a fairly simply edited video. I'm just kind of getting on camera and talking about this. I'll show what I'm alluding to with the sources and such. I actually have a bigger Tears of the Kingdom theory video that I'm working on, but I have to wait on approval for a sponsor and different things. So stay tuned for that. There are other things going on, but let's get into this whole Switch 2 situation. So there's a few different things. There's some things that I think are kind of fake, and there are other things that I think are very legitimate reasons to think something is happening soon. So let's talk about the thing that a lot of people are talking about that I think is likely fake, but could be real. And that is this whole Nintendo Switch 2 codename thing, NX2. So it's kind of insane. Basically, people are putting out this image here that is showing what appears to be the developer support page, like a snapshot of the developer support page or the developer portal for Nintendo, so only developers would have access to this. And it's showing NX2 with Joy-Cons, very much like the Nintendo Switch. The implication being that if you are a developer and you have access to this portal, there are tools here that can assist with Nintendo Switch 2 development, which would be codenamed NX2. So, would it surprise me that NX2 is the codename for Nintendo Switch? No, I think that's actually feasible. But what's a little strange to me is that these Joy-Cons are the same as these Joy-Cons. So, is the Nintendo Switch 2 going to have the exact same looking controller? Also a possibility, could be a placeholder. These are possibilities, yes. But also, this is very fakeable. There are a lot of people who have access to this developer support page, and no developer has come out to confirm this yet. Now, they may be under NDA, so maybe they can't, but this is just something that's very easily photoshopped. I could have made this in just a few minutes if I had really wanted to, if I had access to this imagery. So, it's something that's just very easily faked. And for that reason alone, I think maybe we should be doubting this. But on top of that, there are some people who are fairly respected in the industry that just don't think this is real. For example, Direct Feed Games, also known as Nate to Hate, depending on what platform or avatar or alias he's using, and this is what he said. It's truly impressive how a fake image can become a rumor with such little effort. One tweet, a forum post, and boom, it's being reported by countless YouTube channels and outlets. I guess I'm one of these countless YouTube channels, but I wouldn't have made this video if it was just, hey, we have this image that's probably fake. There's more to it than that, and I will be getting to that. But I'll also point out here, we have, let's see here. This is initially it was seen on Fama boards, but here, Nikki at NWPlayer123 spoke on this situation regarding here it is. This whole NX2 thing. So they said, I somehow doubt the NX2 NDP Nintendo Developer Portal thing is real, but the whispers have been picking up lately, so I'm still expecting an announcement sooner rather than later. I was assuming September, but it's sounding like it might happen before then. So here this person who's fairly respected is saying that this is probably fake, and they have a good history with seeing data mines and things like that. They hear on some things apparently, and they're thinking it potentially could happen by this September or potentially even earlier. And an actual announcement, which to me is kind of crazy. Like that's insane that we could get an announcement this soon. Now, was I hoping for an announcement beforehand a few months ago? Yes, I was. But as time has progressed and different things have happened, I've thought otherwise. But there is this history of Nintendo announcing hardware in July during the Switch era. So Switch Lite, that was announced in July of 2019. Switch OLED, that was announced in July of 2021. And now here we are, another 2 years later, it's 2023, could Nintendo announce something else? There potentially could be something there. Maybe. But there's a little bit more to this situation. So we had another person who has a pretty good track record here, and they are Necro Felipe at Universo Nintendo. So they're saying, I particularly believe in the dev kit for the producer in Spain, and I will not elaborate on this opinion for now. So why wouldn't they elaborate on this? Because there's other information that they don't think they should talk about yet. And if you don't know who this person is, they work for Universo Nintendo, a Nintendo publication, and they have some good inside knowledge because they were putting out reports of a Nintendo Direct before it happened. The kind of Direct Nintendo does next week will track what they share in July as well. I'll keep an eye out for that. So also implying that there could be something showing up in July as well. So they were right about the Direct. This is a fairly credible news site. There is some credible people thinking that something could be coming up fairly soon. This is all kind of coming together to me to suggest that something may be happening soon. Now, I know some people may say, well, not everyone thinks it's happening soon. That is true. Not everyone is thinking it's happening soon. And I'm not talking about like people who like to just speculate and make videos like me. I'm talking about people who have inside information. Like, for example, we just brought up Direct Feed Games. In that thread, they talk about how their expectation is Switch 2 to come out holiday 2024. But I'll also point out there have been times where some people don't have information on something and others do. For example, I remember when myself and Nintendo Prime and a few other people were talking about Tears of the Kingdom news coming out. Like, we had heard that Tears of the Kingdom news is coming, and we put out videos saying, hey, this is happening, this is what we heard, take it with a grain of salt, because until it's confirmed, we don't know, but we believe the source. And sure enough, a few days later, it happened. But there were other content creators that came out and said, hey, listen, you know, we've heard about things, and what we haven't heard is this, so don't believe it. Except then it happened, right? The implication being that, you know, some people have different sources, and sometimes people hear things, and sometimes people don't. So just because some people haven't heard anything doesn't mean it's not happening. It depends. With every rumor, with every speculation, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. We don't know what's going to happen. But the point is, there are people out there right now that have a history of good inside knowledge that are thinking something could be happening soon. I will point out that Jeff Grubb, before the Direct was announced, said that he heard rumblings of something in July. Was he wrong? And we just got the Direct in June? Or is there something else coming? Possibly. And here's where things get a little interesting. A little bit more interesting, I should say, because this is already interesting to me. We have what appears to be even more information suggesting something is happening this year. And that is the fact that Nintendo will be at Tokyo Game Show 2023, but not in the public area. So what's kind of crazy about this is that Nintendo's attending Tokyo Game Show, and they're going to be showing off something privately. Why would they be doing that? Now, this doesn't mean that a Switch 2 announcement is happening this year, and it's going to be at the show. No, this is a private thing. So whatever they're showing off, it's a private thing, and it may not be Nintendo Switch 2, but I'm not sure what they would be showing off in a private area like this. I'd also like to point out that during the Nintendo Direct, Nintendo decided to announce or re-announce or just provide a little bit more information, and mostly a reminder that they have Nintendo Live going on. So they were kind of getting people to look at that event. But then also Nintendo's attending Gamescom, which they haven't attended in a pretty long amount of time, since 2019 with the Switch Lite when they showcased that. So you have Gamescom they're attending, you have this Nintendo Live, you have this Tokyo Game Show that has some sort of private event. You also have PAX West as well, but that shouldn't come as any shock because they usually attend the different PAX events. But there's these different events that Nintendo doesn't normally do around the same time. And that is odd. That is peculiar to me. That is peculiar. These different people who have some inside knowledge suggesting that something could be happening soon That is peculiar. This situation where Ubisoft was recommended to hold off Sparks of Hope for a little bit later so the game could perform well on a newer system. All these Nintendo Switch 2 or next-gen Nintendo console little nuggets coming out of this legal battle with Microsoft and the FTC. Like, there's just different things kind of coming out. It feels like there's a lot of smoke here. And so I think something could be happening soon. I think sometime in 2024, that's still probably the most likely release timing. I have some optimism that they could announce and release Switch 2 before holiday 2024. I've put out a theory recently that maybe it could happen by this March, but I think that's really optimistic. The Nikkei publication suggested maybe mid-year of 2024, so maybe that's a possibility. I mean, I think that they're all possibilities. We don't really know what Nintendo's going to do. So, you know, I have my eyes peeled for these things. But when you also account for the fact that this year, Nintendo has more remakes and remasters coming in comparison to their other published titles than any other prior year, that I think is telling. And I've talked about this before, but one of my previous videos this week, I actually looked at the numbers. Like, the ratio is significant. There is literally 50+% of remasters and remakes coming out this year, which is more so than every other year of Switch. Every single year, including the pandemic year, where it was a pretty high number to make up for the fact that they didn't have a lot of games ready because, well, of the pandemic. So that, to me, suggests that we are definitely getting ready to transition over. But when you also account for the fact that Switch sales, in terms of hardware sales, has been trending down for the last couple of years, and Nintendo's forecasting another down year, multiple down years in a row, typically is a telltale sign that new hardware is coming soon. Software is still selling ridiculously well. There's a lot of Switches out there. The Switch has an opportunity to become the best-selling system of all time. And so I don't think Nintendo is going to just, you know, give up on that. And I've tried to make this clear every time I talk about Switch 2. If Switch 2 comes out next year, this year, whenever it does come out, I think Switch is still going to be supported for a few more years. So if you're one of those people that does not want to see Switch 2 because you're very happy with your Switch, that's totally fine. There are still going to be games coming. Nintendo's still going to support the Switch for years to come. They're going to take advantage of that, but in the meanwhile, they will slowly transition over to their next big system, and little by little, they'll start to support that more and more as the next few years pass. But overall point here is that there's a lot of smoke for this potential Nintendo Switch 2 fire. There will be things out there that are fake, like maybe this whole NX2 codename thing with this developer portal. We're not sure if that's real or fake or not, but it's probably fake because no one has come out to confirm it, and there are plenty of people who are out there who could confirm it. So I'm thinking it's probably something that was just photoshopped, but then when you have these insiders, when you have this Tokyo Game Show, when you have these different events, these different news things coming up, it really does make me think like we are getting close. Can an announcement happen this year? I think it can. I'm not going to assume so, but, you know, I'm keeping my eyes peeled. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andre's Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care.